Hello, everyone. Well, I have just finished grading the first essay here. Um, you know, Pretty good turnaround there, I think. About 5 days to grade 60 papers. Not bad. I mean, toot toot, I know, but hey, it takes a long time to grade. It's like 20 minutes at least for each paper. 60 papers. Pretty good turnaround, I think. If you're not happy with that, I'm sorry, but that's that's about as quick as I can do that. Um, I try to give a lot of good feedback on the papers too, so I don't want to get them turned back to you quickly, but with really terrible quality feedback. I want you to get some good quality feedback on your papers. But speaking of feedback, I want to go ahead and show you um, how to make the most of the feedback, how to look at all of the feedback that I give you on your papers. So I have Canvas up here. I'm just going to sign into my student account. And of course, you're going to click on our class. And you're going to see over to the right here, recent feedback. Okay, this is probably the easiest way to find your paper with the feedback so that you can see the very things I'm going to be pointing out here. So click on the recent feedback, essay 1. There we go. And it's my wife's cover letter for a job. But anyway, so I'm just using that as an example. You're going to go to view feedback. And you can read it like this, but you can also I think you can also like increase this if you'd like to. Anyway, so I'm going to scroll down. As you can see that I'm making comments in the text itself. I'm going to move this over here, okay, so you can see. So you can see that I'm making comments in the text on the paper. So where's the thesis in the paper? That's what I'm kind of looking for right there. And then clear topic sentence later on. I comment on the conclusion, that it's an effective conclusion at the end of that mock paper here. Then I ask, like, what's up with the works cited? Where's the works cited page? So it's in the paper. So one place you're going to find my feedback is actually in the paper itself, annotated on the paper. But then you have these terminal comments over here that I like to do as well, off to the right here. So you can see I'm saying, well, you begin this paper well. It's got a great title and introduction. You connect this with other aspects of your life, other areas of your life due to that one aspect of your identity. But there are a few things that you could work on, right? So the thesis isn't clear. What kind of aspect of your personality or your identity is the focus, and does it affect other areas of your life? That should be explicitly clear. Then the paper is supposed to have at least 3 authors to support the points made. So you could have had like Bui, Plato, Bacon. If you didn't want to use Bui, that's okay. But I think there are lots of things in that book that are relatable to what we're talking about, especially with identity in mind. So I thought that was kind of an easy one to use because there's so many things in The Best We Could Do that that could be easily translated into this paper, which is why I think a lot of you could use that and did use that quite readily. But a lot of people forgot to use like Plato or Bacon or Rousseau or Tzu. But anyway, and then I'll say something like, the paper needed a works cited page, and then I'll end on a positive note as well. But you write very clearly overall. Okay. So that's those are 2 ways, but there's also one more way that you get feedback from me, and that's the rubric that's attached. Okay, so you'll find the rubric as a sort of hyperlink at the bottom of the comments here. You'll just click on that. It'll pull up the document over here. You go ahead and click on that. And then you have the rubric with my annotations. So this is where I feel like this mock paper fits in, right? So like it's got acceptable but sort of cursory understanding of the writing context. My example is a bad example, I guess. And then, I'll cross out the routine purpose or thesis, and I said in my comments that the thesis isn't clear, right? So I'll put that here as well. I'll highlight that. And you earn this many points in that category. Same thing later on, like there's a conventional plan, but it's not developed, right? You have an effective title, introduction, and conclusion, so that moves this grade. It's mostly here, but it also fits into this category, so it kind of moves that up a little bit to the most points possible in that category. And then, okay, satisfactory diction, but you have some problems here and there, and it can get a bit confusing. The tone can be inconsistent. A lot of times, especially for this paper, I felt like, using the second person you is wholly inappropriate because you're talking about yourself, right? This is a personal paper. You should be using I, my, mine, right? All the first person pronouns, right? And then the sentence structure, and then there's a missing works cited, which kind of lands us into this area here. For a total of 72 out of 100. Now, if you were this student, right, and you earned that grade on this paper, you might not be happy with that. I wouldn't be happy with that. So what I would do then is take the option to revise this paper, right? So take all the feedback and use it to revise the paper for a higher grade. You can still do that. If you turn your paper in before the second one's due as a revision, I'll regrade it, and the highest grade replaces the lower grade. So let's say I turn this paper in after revising it, that 72 would go away for the higher grade, right? So if I earned a 92, let's say, on this paper, I don't average the grades, I take the highest grade. So take the feedback, improve the paper, I earn a 92 out of 100, it replaces the 72. It doesn't like average with it, it just replaces that 72. Okay. Let's see, what else? I think that's it as far as reading the feedback, but I did want to say this, and that is that overall, this paper was a very good paper. I felt like a lot of you took this seriously and had fun with it, and maybe explored parts of your identity that you hadn't really thought about, and it was really fun to read. It was really interesting to see you make those connections between what we're talking about in this class, especially with The Best We Could Do, but also with the philosophers that we're reading, and be able to sort of create this interesting, amalgamation of philosophy and of personal narrative with Thi Bui and your own story. It was really cool to read. So I really appreciate you sharing your aspects of your identity with me and with the rest of the students in this class. By and large, I think this is probably the best essay one I have had in a long time. So really appreciate you taking the time to write these. And I hope you had fun doing it. Okay, so we're on to the next thing, right, with the midterm coming up. Turning that in before Sunday. And then we have a quick turnaround with Essay 2. Remember this, okay? So Essay 2, the proposal's due Monday before midnight. So there's a quick turn from the midterm to the proposal, but then after that as well, we have a quick turnaround from the proposal to the peer review. Because peer review is going to be starting next Friday. So you're going to turn in your rough draft on Friday, give each other feedback before Sunday before midnight, and then you're turning that paper in that following Monday before midnight. Okay, so I get it's a quick turnaround, but we have to do that to give room for Essay 3. I want to give you plenty of time to be able to research and do the things that you need to do with Essay 3 because it's going to require a little bit more time. So that's the nature of summer. I'm sorry, but it's just the way it's going to have to go. But we can do it. Hang in there. I'll be there to help you every step of the way. If you need any help with your papers, please let me know. I'd be glad to give feedback. Okay, so I hope you all enjoy your wonderful weekend and have a great 4th of July. Stay safe, okay? And I will see you online on Monday. All right, have a great one.